Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It is Denise Salcedo, July 19th, and we are chatting NXT 2.0 here today. And I gotta tell you, I actually enjoyed this episode of NXT 2.0. There were a lot of things that I kind of felt excited to come on here today and talk about. So that made me feel pretty good. That's always a good thing whenever we have something to talk about today on Tuesdays for these NXT recaps. So I can't wait to talk about some of these items. And before we get to all of that, man, I feel like it's been forever since the last show that I did was last week on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite Fighter Fest week 1, and I wasn't here this Friday because I was over at GCW, and so it kind of feels weird. I feel like so much time has passed by since I've been here doing this show, even though it's only been a couple of days. But either way, before we get into NXT, I just want to give you guys a couple of heads up, because there are going to be some changes just like literally for like this week and next week to my schedule, because for those of you who do not know, I kind of have a zillion things going on, and next week I'm officially getting married, planning this entire wedding myself and still working full time. So it's been absolutely nuts. So heads up for tomorrow, guys. Normally I do my AEW Dynamite show immediately following AEW Dynamite. However, I got some pretty big opportunities to do some additional coverage for Premier Boxing and One Championship. So tomorrow they're going to be holding events back to back over in downtown LA. So I'm going to be there working those events. So I can't watch AEW Dynamite live. So I'm going to be doing a post show the following day on Thursday. It's going to be a super early post show. So if you guys want to make sure you guys check that out, that's already been created here, and it's already up on F4W Online. So you guys can go ahead and set your reminder and know when I'm going to go live for AEW Dynamite. I will be here this Friday for Smackdown and Rampage, so I'm glad to be back for that. And then next week, I will not be here for NXT, so do not expect me here next week for NXT. So I am going to have a one lovely week off, but we'll talk about that more as we get closer so that I can remind you guys of the schedule. Also, additionally, if you guys want to get your questions, comments, or statements read on this show, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. We do got our first super chat of the day, and this is from Darth Steven C777, who says, "Woo, finally able to catch a live post show. Congratulations on your big day that's coming up, Denise. You deserve the best." Thank you so much. For those of you guys who do not know, it's been like absolute madness, okay? It's just been so much to do, so many to-do lists, and like I said, I work full-time, and it's getting down to the wire. Actually, I work a little bit more than full-time, but it's getting down to the wire in terms of all of this planning and just, keeping up with wrestling and making sure I don't, fall apart or anything like that. Nick Grosso sends in a super chat saying, "Zoe Stark, really? I forgot she was still in NXT. It should have been Nikita Lyons. Cora Jade trashing the women's tag title shows what they think of those titles." So all of that, kind of what Nick Grosso just touched on during that super chat, is going to give us a lot to talk about. I am kind of a little bit on the same page with Zoe Starks, where I kind of forgot that she was on NXT. She had been gone for several months, 8 months. I feel so bad because I completely forgot that she was an NXT talent. Like, it was one of those things when she came back, I was like, oh, Zoe's still here. And granted, we'll talk about how things kind of closed out for the ending of the show, but I am kind of along the same lines where I kind of totally forgot that she was part of NXT. But we'll talk about that more in just a second. Thank you so much to Nick for sending in that super chat. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off with probably my favorite match of the night for tonight, and that was definitely JD McDonagh versus Cameron Grimes. So there's kind of a lot to unpack here. First and foremost, because there's like multiple things going on with JD McDonagh and Cameron Grimes. So first of all, I want to talk about the match itself, because I really, really enjoyed it. I thought that Cameron Grimes was the perfect first opponent for JD McDonagh, literally just because, okay, the guy, JD comes out and he attacks Braun Breaker. So he's clearly going to be in that, in the NXT championship title picture instantly, already attacking the champion. Okay, well, you want to give him some sort of win, some sort of victory against somebody that actually means something on the NXT 2.0 roster. So having him in this match with Cameron Grimes and, doing this match, not only was it a fun, enjoyable, competitive match, but getting this win over Cameron Grimes, and now knowing that, or not knowing, but rather having Braun Breaker later on basically say, like, I'm here and I'm ready to take you on. I kind of liked this setup for JD McDonagh. I thought that all of the, him attacking Braun Breaker, him having this pretty good match with Cameron Grimes, I love the way they are setting him up to be Braun Breaker's next challenger. And we'll talk more about that Braun Breaker, JD McDonagh promo in just a second. But the match itself with Cameron Grimes, perfect opponent because he actually means something on NXT 2.0. He's pretty credible on NXT 2.0. And on top of that, it was just enjoyable. All of the strikes from Cameron Grimes just made it really good. I loved all of the slaps that we saw from Cameron Grimes, followed by a killer super kick that I really, really freaking loved. JD then had this moment where he headbutted Cameron Grimes, and then Cameron Grimes immediately knees him to the face. All of that little back and forth action between both of them was really, really enjoyable. And so then we also had Joe Gacy watching this match, and I didn't really put two and two together until later on, and we'll talk more about that because that's more of the Cameron Grimes side of this story. But JD McDonagh wins, okay? And later on in this show, we have a backstage segment where Cameron Grimes is approached by an interviewer. He's going to be asked a question or something or whatever. And he literally loses his shit. He just starts going like freaking crazy. Like, he's so pissed off that he lost this match against JD McDonagh. He's so angry. He's screaming. He's really selling it. Oh, and first of all, we already know that Cameron Grimes is really good at everything that he does. So he's really, really selling this. Like, the man looks pissed. The man is pissed, and I'm buying it. But then, oh my God, so they had Joe Gacy basically come out and, he wants to start having this conversation with Cameron Grimes. And I'm thinking, no, because later on the show, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Sorry, guys, all of this is intertwining. Later on in the show, there was a moment where Joe Gacy basically teased new members coming into the dyad. So I have a feeling that Cameron Grimes is probably going to align himself with Joe Gacy and the dyad, okay? Now, I'm not for this, but I think it's definitely going to happen because they already had Joe Gacy watching him. They had him trying to talk to him in the backstage area. And then on top of that, what else is next for Cameron Grimes? Like, we were literally just talking about this, I think, last week? We were just talking about what is next for Cameron Grimes. I mean, the man is clearly, they're not going to make him NXT champion. He already held the NXT North American Championship. What else is next for this guy? And so I have a feeling that next thing that they're probably going to be doing with Cameron Grimes is aligning him with the dyad. So I'm kind of like really hoping that's not the case. I know Cameron Grimes will do a hell of a job if he is, but it's like, oh, I'm not too in love with the idea or the prospect of it, rather. We'll talk about, because we got to talk about the JD McDonagh, Braun Breaker stuff immediately after this, I think, because later on in the show, we had Braun Breaker come out and he basically says that JD is going to pay for everything that he did to him. And then JD appears on the screen with a really creepy mannequin doll right behind him, just like staring at him. Like, the mannequin doll looks like it's in love with JD McDonagh, like it's in love with him. And but this was kind of cool though. So the promo that he cut, I really enjoyed because he's kind of like a little bit crazy. He's not crazy, like, oh my God, the man is mental. No, but he's a little bit maniacal where like you can tell he has like a sick mind and somewhere in there because he's talking about wanting to rip off the shoulder of Braun Breaker, and he's talking about how he knows how to rip the tendons off and this and that, and he's using the mannequin to show this diagram for what he wants to do to Braun Breaker. So even though the mannequin was like really, really weird, they could have chosen a different mannequin. Besides that, I actually really liked the delivery of this promo and kind of like the purpose behind it for JD McDonagh. And we basically had him say that he is an unnecessary evil that's arriving to NXT. And then Braun Breaker literally just responds with, quote, "If you can't find your balls, how about you take some from the mannequin?" So that was a little exchange between Braun Breaker and JD McDonagh. So there you guys go. That was the opening match and also the two separate storylines going on with JD McDonagh and Cameron Grimes. So let's get some thoughts in here, guys. How do you feel about Cameron Grimes possibly joining himself with the Dyad with Joe Gacy? Do you think it's even going to happen? Let me know. Or do you think it's going to go in a different direction? If so, what other direction can it go in besides Cameron and Joe Gacy? Send some thoughts in. Let's see what we got here. We got a super chat here from Sheldon Jackson. Thank you so much to Sheldon, who says, "I'm like, damn, no hype or promo for Zoe Stark's return and now #1 contender. Like, damn, NXT, y'all were that lazy but gave time to Von Wagner. Shaking my damn head." Sheldon Jackson is referring to a beatdown that we got from Von Wagner to Solo Sikoa outside the Amway Center. They basically showed him like attacking him. It was fine. It was fine. Like, here's the thing. When you do attacks, like in different locations, like in different locations that we don't get to see on every single weekly show, I'm like, damn, let's get a little creative, you know? I think that the beatdown could have been a little bit more creative, not just throwing a guy. Get a little bit like, you know, use some weapons, man. I don't know, just spice it up a little bit more, make it a little bit more fun. But regardless, we did get some time for Von Wagner to attack Solo Sikoa, which is what Sheldon here is talking about. And thank you so much for sending in this super chat here. We also have another one from oh wait, never. Oh yeah, we do. Sorry. Brandon Rosen sends in another one saying, "I know it's not much, but consider this as a wedding gift, Mazel Tov." Thank you so much to Brandon for sending in this. I appreciate it. Huzzah. All right, let's see what else we got here. This is from Franklin from Florida 407, who says, "JD beating Braun is the right call. Move Braun up to Raw." Here's my thing. Like, yeah, I think that Braun Breaker should be, you know, going to the main roster and all of that good stuff. But right now, I feel like I mean, they have options. Well, do they really have options of who could take the Braun Breaker spot in NXT 2.0 right now? I mean, it's clearly not going to be Cameron Grimes. JD McDonagh just got there. I don't know if I would want JD McDonagh to be the one to beat Braun Breaker right now. I wanted it to be Cameron Grimes, but I don't know. I'm not too totally just there. I'm not there just yet, but maybe I will be at some point. We got Fernando Zayas also putting over this match, saying it was a solid match to kick off the show. Everybody's putting over this match with freaking Cameron Grimes and JD. Yeah, I completely agree. I thought it was a really good way to kick off the show. Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and continue on because we do got plenty to talk about here today. Let's go ahead and jump into the cream of the crop. And by this, I mean, this was the most talked about item for NXT in quite some time, and that was the turn of Cora Jade betraying Roxanne Perez on last week's episode of NXT 2.0. After just a week before the turn, they had won the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Now, there is a lot to unpack here, okay? Kind of a lot. So let's get to this. First of all, last week, if this did not happen, we would have had nothing to talk about on this NXT 2.0 program. So while I may have disagreed with some of the stuff that went down, I was very happy it went down just because it gave me something to talk about on this show. But anyways, so we had the follow-up today. We had the Cora Jade heel promo. Now, this was my first time getting to see Cora Jade as a heel because obviously she's been a babyface for, you know, the longest time here on NXT 2.0. And I'm not familiar with her work outside of WWE. So this is really all I know of Cora Jade and who Cora Jade is. And so for me to kind of see her as a heel today, like I thought she did a pretty good job. And this is why I think she did a good job. One, first of all, the first thing that I want to say is that she was out there talking for a while. Like, she had a pretty lengthy promo. It was very, very wordy. There was a lot of things that she kind of had to cover, and she went through it all. There was no stumbling. She basically delivered everything the way that I thought that it sounded great. But the one thing that I do think also helped her tremendously is that the CWC crowd was really responding to what she was saying. They were reacting to all of the bits that they were supposed to react to, essentially. And it also helps that people really like Roxanne Perez. Like, girl is really likable. So it's easy to be like, I'm going to boo this girl because she freaking betrayed and she messed with Roxanne Perez. And I like Roxanne Perez, so I'm going to boo the hell out of Cora Jade. So I think they made the transition into, going from being a fan of Cora Jade to wanting to boo her because, oh my God, she did this to her friend. She did this to Roxanne Perez. And we all like Roxanne. So I think they made the transition to cheering Cora Jade to booing Cora Jade pretty seemingly whatever. They made it easy. So that's what I'm trying to get at here. But let's go ahead and actually talk a little bit about what she actually said. So she goes out there and she basically addresses why she did it. First of all, she says she wished she would have turned on Roxanne Perez a lot sooner. Again, the crowd was really like, they were making sure to give her some heat, and she did get some good heat there. She then says that for the past year, she has been the face of the NXT women's division. She says she was on the posters. The fans proclaimed her the next breakout star. Then she goes on and she, talks about War Games. She talks about all of the stuff that she had done in NXT 2.0. Then she says that she brought Roxanne Perez along and that she gave her a job. So she's obviously being a heel, kind of taking a little bit of the credit of Roxanne's own personal hard work and taking a little bit of that credit from her. And then she says that instantly the fans turned on her, and instead they were seeing Roxanne Perez as the next breakout star over Cora Jade. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I mean, the second Roxanne Perez came into NXT 2.0, everybody was like, oh my God, I love Roxy. Oh my God, she should be double champ and this and that, myself included. So this was fine. I like that Cora Jade basically, brought this up, how people were, talking all about her and nobody was talking about Cora Jade anymore and this and that. So then she says that once they won the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship, that 30 minutes later, Roxanne Perez was already challenging for the NXT Women's Championship. So that clearly bothered Cora Jade. And that's when she goes on to call her a selfish bitch. A selfish bitch. She admits to attacking Roxanne prior to her match, saying she felt good when she did it, and said she had a really good puppy dog little face. And after this, we end up basically seeing something that is going to indicate indicates the future of the NXT Women's Tag Team title picture. All right, so for NXT 2.0, we kind of have been seeing the women's tag team titles, bounce around a lot lately. We've been seeing, some people hold the titles and then quickly lose them right afterwards, or one of the members gets moved up to the main roster, or the team gets broken up, or, all sorts of things happen, or one of the members turns on the other member, right? So for the most part, the NXT Women's Tag titles doesn't really seem like they're that important right now. And I think without officially telling us with what Cora Jade did after her promo, they are basically telling us that they are done and over with in regards to the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. And by this, we had Cora Jade essentially pull a Medusa where she throws the belt into the trash bin. She throws it in there. And she basically says that this title doesn't mean anything to her, that she doesn't care, doesn't mean anything to her. She says she's wired differently. But when you basically say, I don't care about this championship bout, and then throw it in the trash, why would anybody else care about this championship bout? So the point that I'm trying to get here is, I think they basically told us they're done with the NXT women's tag team titles without officially saying like, hey guys, we're retiring these belts. They threw it in the trash bin. Seems pretty clear to me that they're done with these championship belts. So with that, Cora Jade leaves, and we'll talk more about Cora Jade later on. So thoughts on this, guys? How do you feel about Cora Jade as a heel? And how do you feel about the future, rather, of the NXT women's tag team titles? And we're just talking about the NXT women's tag team titles right now. We're not even talking about the main roster ones. I mean, that's a whole other story for a whole other time. Also, Bailey did quote retweet the WWE NXT video clip on Twitter, and she did quote retweet it, and she put something along the lines of, oh, I have some more, it looks like I have more work to do. So I kind of was like reading in between the lines, and this to me seems that she wants to come back and make sure that women's tag team wrestling actually, and that the belts actually mean something. But I think she's talking more in general, not specifically NXT 2.0. Anyways, let's get some thoughts in here. We got a super chat from Brandon Rosen. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, shout out to Cora Jade, starting her promo by doing a callback to Hulk Hogan's first line post-match after he turned heel and formed the NWO. Thank you so much to Brandon Rosen for sending in this super chat. We got a lot of good stuff coming up here. Let's see what people are saying. This is also from Brandon, who says, I like how Cora Jade kept her composure when the fans were making noise and she kept talking. She looked really confident in her new role. Yeah, that's one of the things that I noticed too. She did look confident. And while, she may not be like the most ultimate heel ever, I thought she did a pretty solid job. Franklin says Cora did have some good points. Fans jump to the next best thing and forget about the other person. Yeah, completely agree with that one as well. And let's see what else we got here. This one's from Zeno Hour, who says, I think they're going to combine main roster women's tag and NXT women's tag titles. I thought they were going to do that a long time ago, and then they did it. And I think at this point, I think it would be cool, but I just feel like right now, I don't see it happening. Like, I honestly think that they're just going to do away with both sets of the tag team titles, and we're just not going to hear about it. Like, I honestly feel that's where we're at here. This is a comment from Kevin Bailey, who says, Cora's promo was excellent. She is better as a heel. A lot of good points made, and her throwing the women's tag team championship was symbolic of how WWE treated them since day one. And we got more people putting over the Cora Jade promo. And let's see what else we got here in terms of how people feel about it. A lot of people are liking it. A lot of people liking it. William thinks that he disagrees with them getting rid of the tag team titles, thinks it's just part of Jade's heel turn. That could be a thing, but then again, it's like they kind of buried the titles, saying like when you have the talent basically saying, I don't care about this bout, here, it's going in the garbage can. Like, you gotta, revamp and re-get us people excited about, give back like the honor of having that championship bout, like it was just in the garbage. It lost a little bit of honor there. And let's see what else we got here. This is from Reductive 92s, who actually has a little bit more of a critique for Cora, saying she looked like she was reading a script verbatim. I'm sure she'll improve over time and find her flow and sound more organic. She had a lot of things to say, guys. I thought she did pretty damn good for all of the things that she had to say there and nail. Like, that was a lot. That was a pretty, like I said, wordy promo. So I think she did a good job. I'm liking it. I'm digging it. I'm digging heel Cora Jade. I'm on board. I'm on board. This is good, guys. I want to be on board. Sheldon Jackson sends in a super chat saying, yeah, if I want women's wrestling, I'll catch Impact on Thursdays because their Knockouts title actually means something. WWE NXT is at best with the women. So they have a lot of potential with the women's division, a whole lot of potential. Like, even today, when one of the things that I was like thinking about when we were watching the 20-woman battle royal, I started thinking like, man, hopefully if these girls are given the proper, opportunity. And by that, I mean, hopefully they're not released like in a couple of months when releases happen, that type of stuff. If they're legitimately given a real opportunity, there's a lot of, I'm not saying all of them, but there's a good amount of those girls that can actually go on to be something really great and could be, some of the top women in the next couple of years in WWE. So, right now, NXT 2.0 may not be like the greatest, right? But there is potential there, especially with the women, just talking about right now, just the women. But I don't feel that you can compare NXT 2.0 with the Impact Knockouts division, because the Impact Knockouts division is on a whole other level, okay? And I know this is going to lead to a lot of like WWE versus other companies and this and that and this and that. But point blank, if you're watching the knockouts, if you're seeing what they're doing, they are on another level. Like, I see the Impact Knockouts division up here, man, up here. And like, that's not to say that they don't have a lot of really great people in WWE. It's just saying more so, I think, as a whole, in terms of what they're putting out there with all of these first matches, with some of the stuff that they're doing. I just don't feel like you can really compare it. But that's not to say there's not a lot of good stuff over on, like Raw and SmackDown and whatnot. But that's why I feel like you can't compare the Impact Knockouts division and the NXT 2.0 women's division. I just feel like they're just two totally different levels, two totally different things right now. But regardless, thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for always sending in these very kind super chats. Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and continue on from here, and let's get into we got more people putting over the heel turn. This is cool. Steven Chambers also says he likes the heel turn. Great promo, may drag the feud out. And we got people saying they're a little bit bummed out about them possibly getting rid of the NXT Women's Tag Titles. We'll find out. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks, guys. See really what they're doing there. Alrighty, but let's go ahead and move on. In the meantime, we did get Roderick Strong versus Damon Kemp. I'm a little bit not too interested in this storyline anymore. I think I've gotten past the point. I'm finding the Diamond Mine a little annoying right now, where I just don't care anymore. Like, I really don't care what's going on with the Diamond Mine. I feel like this whole story with the Diamond Mine should have just wrapped up a long time ago. I feel like we're past the expiration date with the Diamond Mine. I kind of just don't care. But regardless, we got Roderick Strong versus Damon Kemp, and this really all led to Tony D'Angelo and his guys. They're jumping the Creed brothers. This leads to a distraction. And instead of Roderick Strong being the one that gets distracted, instead it distracts Kemp. And that's how Strong is able to get the win here. Again, they're continuing this story. There's going to be an 8-man tag next week, so that's fine. So this was really just, setting that up for the 8-man tag that's happening next week. But other than that, I just don't care about the Diamond Mine right now. I'm trying to, though. I'm trying to care. But it just wasn't happening today, though. Wasn't happening today. Let's see. We got Brandon who says, I'm ready to see Diamond Mine drop Roderick Strong already. He sounds like a whiny little bitch. I feel bad. I do feel bad. Okay. I love Roderick Strong. I really, really do. I've been a fan of his before he was even in WWE. But right now, the way that he's been booked on NXT 2.0, he does kind of have a little bit of like go away heat, where not, I don't want to say it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say maybe it's like at a 2 or 3. But regardless, it's a little bit there just because of the way that they've been booking Roderick Strong a little bit. He has been coming off a little bit like, let's move on from this now. I'm ready to move on. It's the nicest way that I want to put it there. We got Fernando Zayas who says it's time to break up the Diamond Mine. I think that was like 3 weeks ago, man. It was time. Sheldon Jackson also says, just let Roderick Strong be happy and let him go already. He don't want to be there. Man, I know. I feel bad for him. But you know what? I'm trying to think of a bright side. What's the bright side? I don't think I have anything. I don't have a bright side right now. I was trying to find a bright side. Couldn't find one. NXT UK Championship match. Josh Briggs Jensen versus Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly comes out in their cowgirl glam look. It's a thing, guys. It's a thing. Cowgirl glam. It's a thing. And that's exactly what they look like today. They look great, man. They look, honestly, Pretty Deadly needs to be on H&M commercials. They need to be on Forever 21 commercials. They need to be on all those trendy little clothing shop commercials because they got the right look for it. They got the right look. They got the hair. They're looking great, man. This match itself, again, this was another one where I just didn't really care either. But we basically end up seeing Fallon Henley. The match was like, The match wasn't anything too great, but for the finish, let's talk about the finish because Fallon Henley, she ends up getting involved during this match. First, she accidentally gets knocked out. So then she comes back and she basically sees that Wilson is trying to use the championship belt. So then they have a little like tug of war party where they're both fighting for the belts. And this essentially allows Josh Briggs and Briggs Jensen to get the win after she grabs the championship belt away from them. And then Briggs delivers a lariat over to Jensen. And she delivers the lariat while Jensen sweeps the leg and Briggs ends up pinning Wilson and ends up retaining the title. So fine, cool, thumbs up. There's nothing much else that I want to add about that. You know what? I do want to say one more thing. I want to see Pretty Deadly as champions. I think that their championship run ended way too soon. I feel it kind of took a lot away from Pretty Deadly, and I get it. I wanted Creed Brothers to be tag team champions too. I did, but I do feel like it just ended too quickly for Pretty Deadly. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. Alrighty, and we got my man who says, no boy, Pretty Deadly should have won. Yeah, I kind of agree too. But there's nothing else out there to add. I'm trying to see if there's anything, Fernando, did I already read your comment about wanting the Creed Brothers to go on their own? I completely agree. I too want them to see them go on their own. Alrighty, moving on from here, let's go ahead and get into the Dyad. So we kind of talked a little bit about the Dyad earlier on when we were talking about Cameron Grimes and the possibility of Cameron Grimes joining the Dyad, which hopefully it doesn't happen. I'm not trying to put it out there. I'm just foreshadowing based on what we're seeing. I don't want to put it out into the universe. If it happens, you can blame me for putting it out there, even though I didn't want it out there. Now I just hate myself. All right, so the Dyad is officially revealed as the Grizzled Young Veterans, which we already knew. A lot of people already knew, but now it's official. It's official. So we got some name changes, everybody. And it's going to take me a while again because we've had so many name changes. But here we go. Name change time. So get your notepads out. Do what you need to do so you actually remember this. If you got a chart with the WWE roster, like all their faces, and then cross out the names and put the new names so you can just like easily refer to it every single week. I should do that, by the way. Anyways, James Drake is now Jagger Reed. I'll repeat it. James Drake is now Jagger Reed, and Zach Gibson is now Rip Fowler. Zach Gibson is now Rip Fowler. I'm going to forget this, by the way. I'm going to forget this by next week. I'm going to need the chart. I'm going to need the cheat sheet here. But we got Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler, who are officially their official names. And they got rid of the facial hair. I forgot one of them has the freaking eye thing, like an eye contact. Looks pretty cool. This is fine. I guess we already knew, so I'm not pretending to be like, oh my God, I'm so shocked. We already pretty much knew this. So I'm personally just glad that they took off the red hoods. They're no longer trying to protect the identities of them. So I hope this means that next time that they go out and wrestle, they don't wrestle with the red hoods. So I wasn't asking for too much. I was just saying, get rid of the red hoods, and they officially did. So now I could stop complaining. Really, because they are a good team. They're a great team, actually. And now the Red Hoods are not going to get in the way of what they were doing because I couldn't focus in on them wrestling with those red things. I just couldn't get into it at all. But either way, Joe Gacy did go on to tease that there are more members about to join the Dyad or the Schism. The Dyad, the Schism? I don't even know what they're called anymore. I'm pretty sure it's still the Dyad. All righty. Let's see what we got here. YT says why am I saying Zap? Zach Gibson. Oh my God, I can't say Zach. Zach Gibson doesn't look good without the facial hair. He looks different. He surely looks different. Christopher says it's hard for me to see Zach Gibson without that goatee. Brandon says they both have the glassy eye contact. Oh, they both have it? Shit, I only noticed it. Oh, there you go. That's how much I paid attention to that. Isaac Looper says Zach Gibson looks like Seth Green without the facial hair. I'll have to see the side-by-side picture, but obviously I remember what Seth Green looks like, so they're kind of both there in my head right now. All right, man. Vance Rawlings says, no thanks. Too many names to remember. I told you, get a cheat sheet. It's like an exam. Get your study guide out and see if you can remember all the WWE name changes this year. And if you do, you get an A+. Alrighty, guys, there you go. That's what's going on with them. We got a Wes Lee promo, and he basically says he's addressing Grayson Waller, saying that Grayson Waller told him that his life sucked, and Wesley is like, I've heard worse from people I actually respect. Tells Grayson Waller to get ready to take an L. He's facing him next week, so that's a match you're going to be seeing next week. I'm not going to be seeing it. You might be seeing it. I ain't going to be here next week, guys. Tuesday, I will not be here. So don't worry. I'll make it. I'll survive. All right. And then afterwards, he basically addresses Trick Williams, and that's about it for the Wes Lee promo. Alrighty. He has a colorful t-shirt. I love it. Good colorful t-shirt. We already talked about Von Wagner attacking Solo Sikoa outside the Amway Center. Cool. Could have been a little bit more creative, a little bit more fun, but still cool. We got the Axiom debut against Dante Chen. I gotta tell you, I liked the Axiom debut. I liked the production of his entrance. For those of you who did not see it, basically, he's a mathematical superhero. So he's really good at math, and he's the superhero. And the entrance, though, so he comes out and it's a little bit of a blur, and they have him moving from like one portion to like the other portion and then the other portion, but with like that little effect where it almost looks like he's just magically getting there. Like he's not walking from point A to point B, but rather he's like, I'm not a superhero fan, guys. So I don't know if there's a technical term for this, but he's like going from point A to point B without actually walking. It's like an effect. Is there a name for this? Is there a name for what they did for his little edit thing? I don't know. I liked the special effect. I thought it was a cool entrance. Cool. He gets the victory. Cool. Good stuff. The production of it is awesome. I'm excited. You know what? I'm on board with Axiom. I'm on board with this Axiom stuff. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, Brandon also says it kind of reminded him of the Flash. Yep. Agree with that. Zeno Hour says all superheroes are good at math. I don't know. Teleporting. Was he teleporting? I don't know if he was teleporting. I wouldn't say teleporting, because if you're teleporting, why would you go from like the stage to like 2 steps forward to the next stage, 2 steps forward, and you're still in the stage? Wouldn't you go from like the stage to the ring like right away? I don't know. Nobody likes it. We got some people saying that they don't like it. We got Nick Rosso saying, give me A-Kid instead of the superhero gimmick. It's corny. We got 2 Icy Dean who says, no, it's corny. Steven Chambers says, cool entrance. I agree. M. Durrett. I'm going to read M. Durrett's comment, who says, WWE has treated real luchadors terribly and then decide to take a guy and stick a mask on him and create their own. I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to come out here and say it. So thank you so much to M. Durrett who said it, because it is kind of true. Like, I shit you not. I was thinking it while I was watching this. I was like, interesting. Very interesting. Oh man. But honestly, I'm not hating on it. I like this. I think I'm gonna give it a try. I know some people think it's corny or cheesy or whatever. I'm gonna give it a try, guys. Come on. At least give it a couple of weeks. And then Zeno Hour does bring up Chelsea Green's tweet. So in response to the post that I posted about Axiom on Twitter, Chelsea Green responded, and she wrote that this was literally an entire idea that Deonna Purrazzo had pitched. And Deonna Purrazzo wrote back, and she was like, yep, it only took 4 years for them to get it. Interesting stuff, guys. Interesting stuff. Raymond Cosa says NXT can't afford full teleportation. I mean, technically they can. They really can. They're $1 billion company. They can definitely afford it. How much does teleportation cost? All right, now I'm just making too much of Nothing. All right, let's go ahead and see what else we got here. All right, let's go ahead and move on from this, everybody. All right, so after this, we got a quick backstage segment with Trick Williams and Carmella Hayes, and they're talking about all of the chicas that they're partying with, Mercedes and Lexus, and Lexus has a Mercedes, and Mercedes has a Lexus. I'm not making this up. This was really what was talked about. And then they start talking about Wesley. The reason I bring this up and why I'm not skipping it is because I really liked how they shot this. It kind of reminded me of TMZ. Now, I don't know how many of you guys watch TMZ. I've only watched very, very few episodes of TMZ. It's not really my thing, but I have seen a couple of it. But when they're all kind of like in that same little area and they're all chatting, and you got the camera going from here to here to here, and you're seeing like everybody's like reactions like in this conversation and just like the movement of the cameras, it reminded me a lot of TMZ. So I kind of like this. I really like this. I dug the style in which it was shot, and I appreciate little things like that. Like that's one of the things that NXT, and I say this a lot, but their production is really good, especially for like what they're working with and like being like in one little place all the damn time. Whoever does their like editing and that the concept stuff, I think is doing a phenomenal job with like the packages and all of the backstage stuff, and all of that's really great. So kudos to that person for that. All right, so matches for next week. We got Grayson versus Wesley. We got Apollo Crews versus Zion Quinn, and we got the 8-man tag team match that's also going to be happening next week. So it looks like I'm not going to be missing much. I'm not too bummed out, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we got one more thing to talk about, which is the 20-woman battle royal to determine the number one contender. However, before we get to that, everybody, I do have a quick update for you all. So as a reminder, Wrestle Rumble here is our sponsor. Please, at any point, go give them some love because they sponsor this show. They're my first official sponsors, and I got to take care of my sponsors. So please make sure to give them some love, either on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever your preferred social media platform is. Go ahead and give them some love. So for some of you who may not know what Wrestle Rumble is, head on over to WrestleRumble.com. For all major pay-per-views for both WWE and AEW, they do like these questionnaires, and you get to answer all of these different prop questions and all of these different like items about what you think is actually going to happen on the show, on the pay-per-view. It's pretty damn fun, especially if you like stuff like that or you just want to give it a try. At first, I thought I wasn't really going to be into this type of stuff, and then they gave me a free entry, right? Because they're sponsoring me, and I did it, and I was like, yes, I was so into it. So it's really fun if you want to give it a try. The next one is going to be for SummerSlam. Here's the graphic right now, and here are some of the prizes. So whoever gets the most points, third place is going to be winning a mystery crate. Sounds great. Second place is going to be going home with $300 cash. And then first place is going to be taking $500. Now, everything right now is so expensive. So seriously, $500 for guessing wrestling stuff on a pay-per-view, to me, sounds like a win-win across the board. So right now, it has not opened yet, but it is opening soon. I will let you guys know when the SummerSlam Pick'em contest officially opens up over at WrestleRumble.com. So once again, in the meantime, give them some love, guys, and then I'll let you know when it officially opens up. Alrighty, now we can go ahead and get into the Jake Kobe says, Denise, come on, we know you love TMZ. You know, I actually auditioned to work at TMZ, guys. Oh, that was a failure of an audition. This was prior to like me making it big in like the wrestling world. I went to an audition for TMZ, right? And I was really excited about it. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna work at TMZ. This is gonna be great. There was one big problem though. And here's the big problem. I love pop culture and I love entertainment, but that doesn't mean I love every aspect of it. I could give two shits talking about the Kardashians. I don't want to talk about the Kardashians. I don't want to talk about the housewives of this and the housewives of that. It's not me. So I showed up to the audition and my script that I had to talk about was about the Kardashians. And let me tell you something. I sucked really, really bad talking about the Kardashians. I had zero interest. And they were like, girl, your audition sucked ass. You're out of here. Sayonara. And I was like, well, there goes my career at TMZ because I couldn't talk about the Kardashians. So anyways, it was a terrible audition, but thank God I didn't get the job because I went on to different things. But anyways, that was my little TMZ experience, guys. All right, let's go ahead and move on from here and see what else we got. Let's see. Let's get into Reductive 92 says, is TMZ all work or completely shoot? What do you mean? I don't understand the question. Sorry. For TMZ, I don't understand the question. My TMZ story, oh, it's legit. Like, I legitimately had an audition with them and like did not do good because I didn't do very good talking about the Kardashians. All right, moving on. We got our 20-woman battle royal to determine the number one contender. So, some of the women that were in this: Yulisa Leon, Sloane Jacobs, Lash Legend, Tatum Paxley, Tiffany Stratton, Elektra Lopez, Ariana Grace, Valentina Feroz, Kiana James, Sarai, Wendy Chu, Amari Miller, Fallon Henley, Indy Hartwell, Cora Jade, Alba Fire, Nikita Lyons, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Ivy Nile, and Zoe Stark. So this was actually pretty fun. I gotta tell you, I was pretty much into this. I thought like the ending was pretty good, but some of the stuff that happened early on in this battle royal, we saw Lash Legend and Alba Fire essentially eliminate each other at the exact same time. And so they, brawl on the outside. Okay, fine. They're continuing their storyline. Nothing else much to add there. There was a spot where Wendy Chu gets eliminated, but she lands on her pillow. And so because her feet never hit the floor, she actually hit the pillow, she ends up getting back into the ring. So I thought that was pretty funny. Katana had a cool little spot on the outside of the ring, another little key moment there. But it seems like I missed a lot during the commercial break because there were so many women in this match. And then we come back from the commercial break, and then all of a sudden, half of these women had been eliminated already. And so they weren't even in the match anymore. We missed so many of the eliminations. Tatum Paxley eliminated herself. That was another thing. The final four women in this were Tiffany, Nikita, Kiana, and Zoe. And there was a pretty interesting moment here. We saw Nikita eliminate Kiana, and that was really great. Like, I loved that elimination. They made Nikita look really freaking good. And then instantly, out of nowhere, Tiffany then eliminates Nikita Lyons. And I thought I was a little bit surprised by her eliminating Nikita because Nikita is kind of a fan favorite here on NXT 2.0. So I was a little bit surprised by how that came off. But it was a fun little back-to-back elimination that we got there. The final two women, and I put this in quotations, the final two women were Zoe and Tiffany. Tiffany almost got eliminated twice, but she held on. I think it added to the suspense of it all. And then Zoe eventually punches her in the face and actually eliminates her. And she wins the battle royal. But then, out of nowhere, Cora Jade comes out. And in the beginning, we had seen Cora Jade never officially get eliminated. They did that whole thing. Cora Jade comes in, she runs in, and I fell for this. I was like, oh shit, Cora Jade's gonna win here. But no, Zoe Starks immediately throws out Cora Jade. And so this gets a nice little pop from the CWC audience. It was a fun little ending. And so Zoe ends up winning the battle royal, and now she is going to be the number one contender against Mandy Rose. I thought this was fun. It was an entertaining finish, and I especially liked the part where they brought in Cora Jade, and a lot of us probably fell for that, actually thinking that this was going to happen with Cora Jade winning, but Zoe Starks just got rid of her really fast, and it kind of added to just, the heel aspect of Cora Jade and just everything going on there. So I liked this. I thought this was fun. Zoe Stark coming back and getting this opportunity, cool. I'm not expecting her to become NXT Women's Champion. I do think that she's just going to give a nice competitive match to Mandy Rose, but I'm not actually expecting a title change there. At least that's where I'm kind of at with that. We got Brandon Rosen who sends in a super chat saying, I believe it was Wade who called Wendy Chu Comfy Kingston when she landed on her pillow. I think he did. I wasn't paying attention too much to that, but I know he said, I had heard the Kingston part, but I didn't hear the Comfy Kingston part. But thank you for that, Brandon, because that was pretty funny though. It was cute. It was harmless. It goes with her character. Thank you to Brandon Rosen. Alrighty, guys. So there you go. That was this show. Let's get some thoughts in here. We got Jay Honcho who says he really wanted Nikita to win. We got Franklin who says Stark is definitely beating Mandy for the title. Toxic on SmackDown would be the right call after SummerSlam. I don't think so. I don't have a feeling that Zoe's gonna actually beat Mandy for the title. I don't feel it. But maybe I'm just not in the right wavelength right now. I just don't think so. M. Durrett says Nikita looks like a killer. Tiffany Stratton is going to be a huge main roster act. Kevin Bailey says Zoe Stark returning and winning was a great surprise. Unexpected. Don't get why people are up in arms about it. It's wrestling. Enjoy it. I think it's more so we haven't seen her in a bit. So this was kind of like, I like Zoe Stark, but there's still something like in terms of character wise that is kind of missing for me. And I need the whole thing to get really behind somebody. So I feel like right now I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. That I think that's more of my response for this. And then we got Fernando who says, I love the finish of this battle royal. Had me at the edge of my seat. I'm very happy for Zoe. Let's see what else we got here. Christopher says, I have to admit, I should put it together of Zoe Stark being the answer for the QR code, given the numbers was the time she got injured. The code stuff, out the door for me. Reductive 92 says, I live for Tiffany Stratton. Can't wait to see her shine on the main roster. I really, really, really like Tiffany Stratton too. Honestly, I really, really do. Alrighty. So there you guys go. That was NXT 2.0 July 19th. Friendly reminder, everybody, that I will not be here tomorrow for AEW Dynamite immediately following the show, but I will be here on Thursday. So Thursday, I believe it's at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be going live to talk about AEW Dynamite Fyter Fest Week 2. So instead of after the show, I'll be on the following morning. So set your reminder. It's already up here on F4W online. You can already check out the time and set your reminder for that stream. So I will see you guys then. And then I will also see you guys back here on Friday to talk SmackDown and Rampage. Before I go, do not forget to follow me on Twitter and/or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo and then youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Until next time, I'll see you guys all later. Bye, everyone.